What's going on, everybody? I hope you are all having a wonderful Friday, and we are all hoping the Eagles are going to have a wonderful Monday night because that is when they play the Buccaneers for the first round of the playoffs. Now, I have a lot for you guys in this Eagles rundown, and I knew I needed to get this out before the weekend, before we get these playoffs games started. It's probably coming out around Saturday morning. I'm not too sure yet. I'm recording it Friday night as we speak, but I have a wrestling tournament tomorrow, so I don't really know how I'm going to post it yet. But going to the rundown, there's a few things I want to go over. So first, I want to go over the recent struggles this team has had and the total collapse by the Eagles. So the recent struggles, you can understand. They were a good team on paper, and they had struggles. You know, every teams go through this. They struggle at points in the season. But with the Eagles, it was something different. They weren't just struggling. They were playing flat out terrible for 6 straight games. They've lost 5 of their last 6, half of them to mediocre opponents or even worse. And they have lost to teams like the Cardinals, the Seahawks. The Seahawks just missed the playoffs, but the Giants as well. And they almost lost to the Giants twice. They barely beat them on Christmas Day. So playing down to these teams isn't going to get you far in the playoffs. We play a 9-8 Buccaneers team on Monday night. We beat them earlier in the season by a lot, but that was when people had confidence in this team. People had confidence in this offense as well as its defense. Now the offense is struggling, the defense is struggling, the players are struggling, the coaches are struggling, the fans are struggling because they have to watch this team day in and day or week in and week out and watch them struggle. It's ever since the Bills game, and even before the Bills game, the team has been playing bad. But they were getting wins from the Bills game prior. Now they're not even getting wins. Ever since that San Francisco game, they haven't been able to accumulate any wins. So I'm just here to ask, will these struggles carry over to the playoffs? We have seen teams turn it around once it comes playoff time. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the Eagles. I really hope it's the Eagles. I think playing the Buccaneers in round 1 will really help them get back on track. I'm not saying that the Bucs are an easy match, but I'm saying that if there was a team that the Eagles would want to face in the NFC in round 1, it's the Bucs. Because the Packers are hot, the Rams are hot, and you don't want to verse any of the division winners like the Cowboys, the Lions, or even San Fran first round. So I'm glad we have the Buccaneers, and we're in the 5th seed. So we're likely not going to get a home playoff game unless something miraculous happens. And if we win, then we either verse in San Fran or Dallas in round 2. Unless Dallas doesn't win against the Packers, which that would be hilarious if they lose in the wild card round after another postseason collapse. But I don't think I can say the Eagles are going to forget their struggles because they have been so bad. I think their struggles are going to carry over. Their coaching is such a big problem, and that's also going to carry over into the playoffs. They're not going to learn how to call offensive plays. The defense is going to get blown up. So I think in order to win this game, the offense is going to have to find a way to score at least 30 points because the offense has good players. And even though it's coached by, I don't know even who is calling these plays at this point because this team is so secretive of what they're doing. Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, who is it? I've always thought it was Brian Johnson. I still think it is Brian Johnson. But Nick Sirianni takes the blame for him. He takes the blame for his players. He doesn't get rid of Brian Johnson. He doesn't do all this stuff. So I don't know who's behind the steering wheel for this offense. But I'm really hoping that whoever is behind the steering wheel knows how to call their plays and knows how to destroy this Bucs defense because they have earlier this season. So why won't they be able to do it again? And I know the Bucs are going to make adjustments, but the Eagles should make adjustments as well. We shouldn't be seeing them come in to we're not going to Lincoln Financial Field on Monday. We're going into the Bucs house, and they're going to have their fans behind their back cheering. And we're going to have to come in there and quiet them down and try to look for a victory. It's not going to be an easy feat. I'm very nervous about this game. But I do think the struggles are going to carry over to the playoffs. I don't think that the Eagles are going to forget their struggles just because they've been so bad for so long. It's been since, what, beginning of December, maybe first week of December since I've actually had an ounce of hope for this team. It's been too long since the Eagles have been good. They were 10-1, and now they're 11-6 going into a wild card playoff game as this 5th seed. That's not what you want to see by a team that just went to the Super Bowl and almost came out with a victory. So, yeah, this struggling is not... We're going to have to get very lucky if we want to advance in the playoffs going forward. I still think that this is a winnable matchup, but I don't think it's going to come easy. I really think it's going to be a tough matchup against the Bucs, and it's just going to get tougher down the line with guys like San Fran, Dallas, Detroit, and maybe teams like the Rams or Packers if we ever get there. So, are they going to do it? I don't know. But now I just want to talk about, and the next thing in the rundown, is coaching the problem or is it the players? Now, I personally, I'm going to go with coaching. The coaching has been terrible by this team this year. Maybe on the defense. The defense, you might be... Well, the defense, obviously, they're coached by Matt Patricia right now. Patricia's calling the plays after Sean Desai, and he's been terrible. So, I don't know what to say about that. You can say both the players and the coach is the problem with that, but I'm looking more towards the offense. The offense has really been questionable, and I think it's a coaching problem. I think it's whoever's calling the plays, either it's Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, whoever's calling the plays is the issue with this offense. You have guys like Jalen Hurts, who, in my opinion, if he had a better play caller, he would be an MVP finalist. He is not this bad. He's not as bad as he's been playing this year. And I'm going to stick to that because Jalen Hurts proved that he is a good quarterback under a play caller who can call plays that have some type of diversity. They also have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift. You have all these weapons on offense as well as a great offensive line, one of the best in football, and you can't seem to get a running game going. So I don't think it's the players' fault. I think it's the coaching's fault because they don't know how to call plays. They don't know how to trust their players in certain situations. We're seeing Kenneth Gainwell getting screens in the backfield, 3rd and 20, and we're not seeing A.J. Brown with the ball. We're not seeing Devontae Smith with the ball. We're barely seeing Dallas Goedert with the ball. We never see DeAndre Swift wanting the ball. So I don't really know why the coaches don't want to go to their players. I don't know why they don't know how to call plays correctly, but I bet you I can go on Madden NFL 24 right now and call up a better offensive play calling than the Eagles can right now because they are terrible at calling plays, and they need Shane Steichen back because he knew how to call plays for this Eagles offense. And I don't know, I'm getting on a rant because this offense, every time I watch it, it frustrates me, and I'm hoping that now it's the playoffs, they're going to turn another page and actually call good plays, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, next thing on the rundown, what to look for in the Buccaneers. So the Bucs, they're probably the worst team in the NFC in the playoff bracket. So this is the team you want to face. This is the team you want to exploit their weaknesses. So they got Baker Mayfield, who has actually been quite a surprise this year as he's back in the playoffs, and he's been playing pretty solid this year. And he has guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to help on the receiving end. And they have got a guy like Rachaad White as their running back, and he's been nice this year. And the Eagles have proved that they cannot stop the passing game or recently the running game. Their pass rush has been terrible, so White might go off for a crazy game, and they're going to have to guard both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, which I'm very scared about. I have one of them going off for 100 yards on Monday because this Eagles secondary is terrible. And I know we're going to get Big Play Slay back for this game, but he's coming off an injury, and I don't know how Bradbury's going to keep up. I hate Bradbury this year. He had a great year last year, other than that hold in the Super Bowl, but he had a great year last year, and now he has fallen off a cliff. I might have to make a whole video on James Bradbury because we inked him to a 3-year contract. We're going to see another 2 years of Bradbury after this, unless they restructure a deal or do something, because he has been flat out awful this year. So I don't know how he's going to do on Chris Godwin. So it's most likely going to be Slay against Evans and Bradbury against Godwin. It's going to be a tough matchup, and I really see maybe Chris Godwin going off for 100 yards in this game. And Rachaad White, if the passing game's not working, Rachaad White's going to run right down the Eagles' defensive line because they haven't been good either this year. I mean, aside from like Fletcher Cox has been doing good for his age, but we have not been getting enough pressure from that defensive line. And that's just another thing for another time. I might go more in depth after the game about that defensive line. But I just want to quickly say we're so far down in the sack department. We're so far down in the pass rush department. We're so far down in the quarterback hits department. It's everything so far down from what it was last year that I don't even know what to say. It's almost all the same guys. All we lost was Javon Hargrave, and we replaced him with guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So that's not big of a, yeah, Javon Hargrave was great, but we got guys like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter who can fill that spot. So I don't see Javon Hargrave going as the problem for this defensive line. But anyway, there's a lot to look for in the Bucs offense with their wide receivers and even their running back. But I think that the Eagles can do okay against them, but they're still going to give up a lot of points because their defense is terrible. Matt Patricia sucks, and they don't know how to call plays on defense either. But the Bucs defense is what's the key for them this game. The Bucs have a good defense, and they're going to have to, the Eagles are going to have to call good plays if they want to score against this Bucs defense, because they've been good this year, and the Bucs defense is what's been carrying them to the playoffs. So they gotta use the running game. Use the running game. That's all I can really say. DeAndre Swift is, what was he, top 5 in rushing this year? He probably was out of the top 5 after never getting the ball anymore, but he's been amazing this year when he gets the ball. But the Eagles don't want to go to him. And if they do go to him, it's with these crappy run schemes that they run with an inside zone. They never do anything else. They never go to an outside zone. They never try to stretch the ball to one side or the other. They always just do these inside zone plays, either in both A-gaps. Like, I don't know why they're doing this. And the RPOs are awful this year. They're nowhere like last year. I'm not even going to get to the passing schemes because that's going to make me like blow my head off. But the running game has been awful. They only have like a couple run plays that they want to call. So DeAndre Swift, he's doing great even in this crappy run scheme. So in order for the Eagles to take advantage of the Bucs defense, they have to run. They have to run the ball and create opportunities for passing plays to guys like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I don't want to see Kenneth Gainwell getting passes 5 yards back. I like Kenneth Gainwell as a complement to DeAndre Swift, but I don't want to see him getting pass attempts 5 yards back from the line of scrimmage. I don't think that's effective football, and I don't want to see Julio Jones getting a wide receiver screen 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's not what he's used for. You saw in the Cardinals game what he can be used for. Maybe 20 yards down the field. He's an aggressive catcher. So if you can get him 20 yards down the field in the end zone, then throw the ball up to him and see if he can do good off a one-on-one opportunity. But do not throw wide receiver screens to Julio Jones. You have 3 big playmakers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. You have to use them. So that's how they're going to use the run game to help their pass game. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. And this leads me to my next point of, can the Eagles get back to that same dominant offense as they did earlier in the year? And I think they can. I do think they're going to struggle still, but I do think they can get back to that dominant offense. If they run the ball with Swift and Gainwell as a complement, if they learn to mix up their passing routes, have some crossers, have anything over the middle of the field, just something that can give Jalen Hurts guys open. Jalen Hurts has not had any guys open all year because of these crappy passing routes, either 4 verts or 4 comebacks. There's no diversity in the plays. So if you throw something over the middle of the field, maybe something deep, maybe something short, medium. Like, you got to be diverse with the play calling. If you're not going to be diverse with the play calling, the passing game is not going to be effective at all. And Jalen Hurts is going to be running out of the pocket and either throwing the ball away or getting a 2-yard run. So there's no point in even thinking about this a win here if you're not gonna fix this passing game. But if they do that, if they run the ball, if they create more diversity with the run package as well, then I think they can get back to this dominant offense that we saw earlier in the season. But I'm really nervous for this Bucs game. Now my final predictions, I'm gonna go with an Eagles win, but that's only because I think something's going to hit them. I still think they're going to struggle bad in this game. I'm seeing a score of like 26-23 in favor of the Eagles, but it's not going to be anything pretty. DeAndre Swift is really going to have to be on his A game because he's going to get the ball a lot in this game, I feel. The passing game is going to be off. Jalen Hurts with his finger is going to be terrible, and it's just going to be a bad game for passing unless Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni decide to put on the big boy pants and figure something out with this play calling. But I think the running game is going to be really important. The guys in the trenches, the O-line, they're going to have to be good if they want to end up pulling off a victory here. Now that's going to do it for this Eagles rundown. I'm going to get back after the wild card game on Monday with a wrap-up of the game and talk about what happened. I'm really hoping the Eagles win. I really hope they win by a lot. I just want to get past this wild card and into the next round. But there's a chance we might not even make it to the next round. So we got to be on our A game this game. Monday night, 8 o'clock. I'll see you guys there, and I'll see you guys in the next Eagles Rundown.